Today I'm talking about 3 games that shaped my life as a young child. I'm narrowing it down to some first-person shooter games. They're not first-person shooters, but that song's in my brain. You know what happened last year. So here it is, in no particular order. I'm gonna give you the 3 games that I love the most that shaped my young mind. Smash that like and subscribe button and let's get to it. In a world where crime runs rampant and justice is served in the form of low polygon bullets, there's only one team that can stop it. And no, it's not Batman and Robin. It's Virtua Cop for the Sega Saturn. Virtua Cop, as my parents called it, was Sega's answer to the question, what if you could shoot bad guys without getting arrested? Well, you're the cop. I mean, of course, you're going to shoot bad guys. They're released in 1994 in arcades and later ported to the Sega Saturn in 95. This game was a pioneer of the on-rails shooter genre. That's right. You're not walking anywhere. All the crime is coming straight to your face. You just got to sit there and unleash the bullets in these fools. This game drags you through the action like a parent at a theme park. It's like Uber for gunfights. All you gotta do is sit back and let the action come to your face. No diddy, no diddy. All right, now let's talk about the riveting story of Virtua Cop. You play as Michael Hardy and James Cools. I think they had nicknames, but what's the point? I would kill for that name. Hey, call me Cools. Your mission was to take down the Evil Corporation. That's right, EVIL. Couldn't be more on the nose, but hey, that's what we wanted. I didn't want to think about nothing. Just spoon feed it to me. You know what I mean? Ain't much going on in my brain. Don't make me think about nothing. And I mean, with a name like that, they might as well have been called Bad Guys Inc. So as far as the gameplay goes, it was pretty simple. You shoot the bad guys before they shoot you. Wash, rinse, and repeat. That was it. It was a simple game. The only thing was you couldn't get too trigger happy because sometimes civilians would pop up like they had some sort of death wish. Seriously though, who were these people? You hear a shootout going on and the first thing that pops into your brain is, dang, let me go see what's going on out there. And show your face in the middle of a gunfight? Some people weren't raised in the hood. I saw a lady get mugged one time.
I'll be taking that.
Man, she had a gun pulled on her. Everybody ducked to the floor. That's what you do. Wasn't no shots even being fired. This was at a Fiesta parking lot. As far as the graphics go, they're charmingly retro. Damn, I cannot stop myself from rhyming on these videos. The characters had a polygon count of a melted action figure. But back then, we didn't care. That was cutting edge. Remember Lara Croft? How many of us was ushered into man because of Lara Croft? We didn't care. It was so cutting edge at the time. And as for the sound of the game, let's just say that the voice acting makes anime dubs sound like Shakespeare.
Pretty bold, aren't we? I'll take care of you myself.
But overall, is Virtua Cop still worth playing? Abso-freaking-lutely. It's dumb, it's fun, it makes you feel like an action movie hero, just with a few more jagged edges. So if you got a light gun and a Sega Saturn laying around, this is the perfect way to spend an afternoon. Just don't try it with the regular controller because trying to aim with that D-pad is like trying to perform surgery with oven mitts. In short, Virtua Cop is a first-person shooter must play for any retro gaming fan. And remember, if you see a guy named James Cools, just assume that he's got everything under control. For me, I remember when this game first came out, I begged my parents for Virtua Cop. I was praying for it. I was pleading for it. I wanted it for Christmas. And to my surprise, my parents actually got me Virtua Cop 2 for Christmas. But not Virtua Cop 2 for Sega Saturn. Nah, it was that Tiger Electronics version. Actually, it was Virtua Cop 1 for that Tiger Electronics. That's my bad, y'all. I was really disappointed, but I acted appreciative. Even from a young age, you got to learn how to play the game. So I pretended I liked it, even though it sucked. If you had the game, you know what I'm talking about. The calibration on it was but I must have played my cards right because my birthday is not even a month later, and my parents bought it for me for the Sega Saturn. As a kid, you got to learn how to play the game. Number 2 on the list, in no particular order, I'm gonna say Syphon Filter was also a game that came out in the 90s. Ah man, the 90s. A time when sunglasses were fashionable, trench coaches were acceptable, and video game protagonists had the grip strength of Spider-Man. I'm talking about Syphon Filter. It was the game that made you feel like a top tier secret agent, which also made you question why rolling was a faster means of transportation than running. I don't know. Before Call of Duty espionage missions and before Sam Fisher made night vision look cool, there was Gabe Logan, gaming's most underappreciated action hero. Syphon Filter was developed by Iditech, now Bend Studio, and published by Sony in 1999 for the PlayStation. It was a mix of stealth shooting and occasional taser-based war crimes. More on that later. It followed Gabe Logan, a government operative trying to stop a biological weapon called the Syphon Filter. It was initially pitched as a stealth game. Instead of going full Metal Gear Solid, Syphon Filter became a fast-paced third-person shooter with stealth elements. But you know what? It worked. The game was a hit, spawning off a franchise of sequels. The controls were a little bit stiff. The animations were beautifully janky, but the gameplay was absolute gold. Here's what made Syphon Filter legendary. The taser. This is my favorite, my number 1 go-to. Why? It's the greatest weapon in gaming history. Not only could you just zap your enemies, but if you held the weapon long enough, they'd start smoking. They would literally burst into flames. Apparently, Gabe Logan carried the power of Zeus in his pocket. The roll spam. You want to dodge bullets? Roll. You need to travel faster? Roll. Avoid an explosion? Roll. 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 Gabe was less of a secret agent and more of a bowling ball with a gun. Enemies would either have pinpoint accuracy or the aiming of a starship trooper, stormtrooper.
Take your sweet, sweet time aiming. Cause well, you can do it. Come on, just a bit more. Yeah, self-defense.
There was no in between. As far as the stealth mechanics go, it was more of a suggestion than a requirement. If sneaking failed, plan B, it was usually run, guns a-blazing. But for all of its quirks, Syphon Filter remains a cult classic. It had intense action, a bunch of cool gadgets, and a surprisingly engaging story. Plus, it laid the foundation for future stealth action games. Without it, we might not have a Splinter Cell or Uncharted, since the same studio later worked on that. Unfortunately, Gabe Logan never got the same love and appreciation that Solid Snake or Sam Fisher got. Maybe it was the fact that he never took off his sunglasses. Maybe it was the lack of a modern reboot. Either way, Syphon Filter deserves more recognition. So is Syphon Filter still worth playing today? Abso-freaking-lutely it is. Just be prepared for some PlayStation era charm, meaning weird animations and the most satisfying taser in gaming history.
Where's our damn backup?
Would I recommend a remake? Yes, I would, without hesitation. Would I demand they keep that overpowered taser? Yes, I would. So if this was your favorite game, or you have a favorite memory playing it, let me know in the comments. I know for me, to be honest, I didn't like the slow pace of Metal Gear Solid. Syphon Filter was always my go-to. My first experience with it was renting it from a Blockbuster. It was love at first sight. As soon as I popped it in, it consumed my weekends. My only complaint about this video game was how dark it was. I would play it and I would get these massive headaches. And eventually I put 2 and 2 together and I lightened up my TV settings and had a good amount of ibuprofen. But that's all I got for this one. Let's move on to the next game. That third and final game. For this list at least. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you.
Bravo team, this is HQ. Mission is a go.
SOCOM. What if you combined Rainbow Six, a Blockbuster rental, and a bad headset?
And microphone.
This was the game that made you feel like an elite Navy SEAL, assuming you could get past the voice commands that worked 30% of the time. Back in 2002, Zipper Interactive released SOCOM, US Navy SEALs, for the PS2. It was a tactical third-person shooter that had 2 groundbreaking things. Online multiplayer on the PS2, back when your internet was powered by Hopes and AOL free trial CDs. And a voice command system that was supposed to let you order your AI squad around, but instead made you sound like you were arguing with an 8-ball. Despite the questionable voice recognition, SOCOM was a massive hit. Just ask 14-year-old me with my playlist. It sold millions of copies and convinced millions of people that whispering into a flimsy piece of plastic was peak military strategy. SOCOM had a total of 4, count them 4, mainline PS2 games. SOCOM 1 came out in 2002. Funky controls, yes. Addictive multiplayer, also yes. SOCOM 2, now this is the one that hooked me in. It was bigger, better, actually playable online, but I had it for PS2. Now you may ask yourself, why was this so special? It's not Army Men 3D. Remember that game? Despite all of its quirks, SOCOM was the tactical shooter for PS2 players who wanted something more realistic than Call of Duty, but less spreadsheet simulator than Rainbow Six. The multiplayer was legendary. The single player, frustrating but fun. The voice commands, pure comedy.
Did you graduate from an all-girls school? You'd be a good poster child for stem cell research gone bad.
SOCOM was basically the grandfather of modern day shooters. It paved the way for games like Rainbow Six, Vegas, and Ghost Recon, Advanced Warfighter. And then it kind of disappeared. Zipper Interactive shut down in 2012, and SOCOM unfortunately never got the proper revival. The last real entry was SOCOM 4, which was on the PS3. And let's just say it didn't exactly get the Medal of Honor. Should you go back today and play SOCOM? If you got a love for tactical military style shooter games, I would say abso-freaking-lutely. I remember being in high school and I had my playlist. I had a few songs I can remember to this day. It was like Enya, had Body Moving. I had some Limp Bizkit, Eat You Alive. I remember that was big in my playlist. I wish I could go back to those days and replay it in that same feeling. But SOCOM Part 2, that was the one for me. Which one did you like the best? I know I said Metal Gear Solid really didn't do it for me, but for some reason SOCOM did. Maybe because it just helped me in my solitude. I was happy. I would play it alone, and that's some of the best memories I have, listening to that playlist and playing the game. If you liked any of these games and have great memories, drop them in the comments section. Let me know what your memories are of them. I want to hear. I am genuinely interested. That's going to do it for me for this one. I just wanted to touch base on some games and see what y'all thought of them. And remember, hit that like and subscribe button. If you had a channel, I'd do it for you. Drop a like if you like this one. On to the next one.